Okay, so as we have said before, many things happen behind the scenes that we don't share publicly as we are working feverishly to try and get the best use out of these connections that we have with the support of all the collectives. And we often get prompted to do lots of random little things that we sort of question, why on earth is this significant? And then when we do sessions and channeling and get the information, it's all suddenly quite clear why we were guided to do certain things. So at this stage, I think this is going to be a conscious mind conversation. There may be some channeling, but I think most people know now when the channeling starts and ends. And sorry, I'm actually here with Erin, so before I mansplain the crap out of what's going on.
Yep, here too. Happy to be here again. I love you, friend. And I love our chats and the growth that we're doing together. It's so exciting, and that we have more friends to play with too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, soul contracts galore surrounding us and nurturing us into our growth. It just triggered me to remind myself of this experience, and I haven't shared this with you, so I'm going to say it really quickly. I was driving the twins to preschool and they were having a conversation with each other. Olive was saying how she really wants to go to space and check out space, but there's a big problem with that. And Ivy's like, what is the problem? And then Olive was like, well, you can't go to space very long because you can't eat up there. And Ivy was like, oh, yeah, that's true. And I was like, what? Why can't you go to space for a long time? Because you can't eat up in space. I was really curious. I wanted in this conversation. And Olive was like, yeah, mum, you know, because of the crumbs. And I was like, yeah, okay. So you can't go to space and eat and leave crumbs, but yet in my bed, when you have been snacking in the weekends, I have got crumb city happening in my bed. But
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
it
let's.
doesn't do well in zero gravity, I guess. Well,
But
they're tapped in. They're probably right.
but I was like, where did this even come from? And then I was thinking, oh my gosh, have they overheard us talking? And because one of your favorite sayings is breadcrumbs.
Yes. Yep. So true.
Are you influencing my children, Erin?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's way possible in the best bulldozer love way, auntie from America way possible. Yes.
Anyway, yeah, I forgot to say this, but this kind of like introduces what we want to talk about, which is influences and people mishearing or misunderstanding or misknowing the agenda behind the information influencers are sharing. We know that there are many influencers who are highly regarded, who actually have a mission and a life contract and a purpose to share disinformation to disempower their followers. And this is a really serious problem because when you are sort of growing in the truth or spiritual communities, you trust those influences more than you trust your own intuition. And as you're growing in a spiritual capacity, you still have quite a lot of doubt and fear and a lot of work to grow and mature into. And so you really throw common sense out of the window as you are trusting blindly these influences as you are growing. So many people find that they have done a lot of their inner work and they have empowered themselves, and as they're going through either their new triggers or their new concepts that they have been presented, they are realizing that some of their foundational blocks of their building blocks of their spirituality and their wisdom connected to all what's going on actually has some layers of disinformation, which kind of makes their foundation of understanding what's happening really unstable. And so people are having to really rethink, what have I been told by influencers? What is my belief systems around that information? And actually, does that serve me today? And a lot of people I'm finding, I'm just going to use this one example. So someone wrote to me and was very concerned because they had got a message that Qhht, you know, what we have heard and learnt about him in many, many different sessions for over a year now, is that he has quite a important role in the Palladian collective, and he is overseeing a lot of we've asked him directly in many different sessions with many different clients, so you know that this is how I work. I don't just rely on one client or just my own self for this information. I nitpick every single aspect of what's going on and why behind the scenes with many private sessions and many public sessions through very many different people from different collectives. Now, I want to say about Qhht, many people have labeled him as the devil or something's really bad and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, so someone has written to me really concerned because I may not have heard that. And so they're kind of like, oh, I was a little bit disappointed, Joanne. You called an Qhht, don't you know? He's the devil, don't you know? He is selling bullshit to you. And I just sort of think, if you're listening to this information in sessions and you're still judging who is brought here and not able to hear the messages, there is a lot of inner work you need to do to be able to get to that neutral, to be able to hear the information as it's supposed to be intended. This is, my clients are not talking through their egos. They are actually connected to higher dimensional beings through a form of channeling because they're in a very relaxed state. So their egos are pushed aside, their personalities are pushed aside, their conscious minds are pushed aside. So then we can connect in to higher dimensional beings and their information. Now, who listened to that session with Qhht and thought he was the devil and giving us disinformation and fear-based crap? Because seriously, if you are still jumping to these conclusions that there is evil that is trying to manipulate us in these sessions, I'm confused.
So it's a journey, and I have been guilty of this myself. So I will speak from experience here. I have walked this path. I started with the truther thing. It took me a very, very long time to figure out that the people I was putting my faith into, just because they had access to information that I don't have access to, it doesn't mean that we have the same goal. It doesn't mean that we want the same things for humanity. I mean, we have different goals, right? So it took me a long time to figure out, what is this person, what is the effect it's having on me? Number one, am I left feeling really panicked and confused by the information that is groundbreaking? It seems it is coming across as groundbreaking. It's got some truth in there. It's convincing, that's for sure. Is it that, or is it the higher dimensional information that really challenges me to grow, but I feel the love and the support, and I feel myself expand. I feel my heart grow bigger. I mean, that in itself is a process. So I really, really, really challenge everyone who is listening to the truther stuff, which I still do, but I'm able to observe, and I've worked very hard to be able to get to that point. If you are not able to observe, then you may need to step away, which is what I did. I stepped away from it completely for a while until I was able to get to neutral and maintain neutral. Now, this is it's not a Picasso painting here, okay? It's not pretty all the time, but I am doing really well with it now. I am able to listen because I want to check the pulse. I want to see what's going on. I want to see the growth. I'm checking in on the influencers that we spoke with, seeing positive changes. That just makes me so happy. I'm able to do that. But if people aren't able to do that yet, and they cannot differentiate, it's okay. No one's upset with you about you being on the journey because you're on it. Just tune into your own intuition and your own team.
Well, intuition is an earned skill set that we get when we drop fear. So, if we are still living fear based, worried, concerned, victimized, blah, 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 what really is your intuition picking up on? It is just, you're just sending out fear based worry and concern, and you're finding fear based worry and concern in return. You cannot really, truly, honestly be able to get direct connections to your team when you're resonating at a fear based victim mode mentality. It's just such a huge disconnect. And so, those people who say to me, oh, I'm using my intuition and I've got a really gut feeling about, so and so being the devil. And I'm like, okay, first of all, let's unpack that. There is no such thing as a devil. It's a man-made construct from religions to control you. So, tell me more about this negative feeling you've got. And it's never really about the being that they're projecting their own fear-based information and insecurities on. It's simply a reflection of self-inner work. And so I would like to suggest to people who are still trying to work through their intuition, you have to get to a certain level of neutral to be able to trust your own intuition. Otherwise, you're merely reflecting your own blocks and limitations and fear and trusting that as your intuition. So can people start seeing that when you are wanting to trust your intuition, what is it really telling you? Is it showing you your inner work of where your fear is and what your insecurities are? Or have you already evolved from that? You've got that neutral of everything as a purpose, a lesson, and a reason, and it's all very significant to grow and overcome from, and then you are using your intuition after that point. I think it's very dangerous for people to trust their intuition when they're deeply in fear, because it's going to spin you. It really is. And we've all been there. But then there's this next level of people who have collected all this information from influencers and kept it as fact. And so, someone who has heard from a big influencer that Ashtar is the devil, not to trust him. Oh, okay. Interesting. That sounds like disempowerment to me. That sounds like a collective who is wanting to disconnect people from a very important Palladian who has got the best intentions for humanity. We have asked him every which way. I have grilled him. I have questioned him. He has come into so many public sessions and private sessions, and he does not give me the devil vibe at all. And I have done my inner work. I am not in fear. And so I can trust my intuition.
Yes. Yeah. And it really does take a level of uh, kind of stepping back and observing to see that people, these so-called influencers, they do have different agendas. They do. And you can tell based on how you feel when you listen. And if you're spinning on it, it's okay. I was there too. It's okay, but step away. It means you need to step away and go inward more. And that's good advice for everyone for sure. But as far as the truther community goes, proceed with caution. There is a lot of positive change I'm seeing, and that is very encouraging. But be very careful not to place a greater weight on their words than your own feelings.
So just be mindful of what you've collected as fact from these influencers, because it's mostly their egos talking, and if they're trying to sell you fear and make you feel worried, where is their belief in their teams? Where is the belief in your teams? Where is the belief in the bigger perspective of what humanity is actually being pushed and encouraged to do, which is grow, be high vibrational? We hear in these sessions love. We hear in these sessions hope. We hear in these sessions inner peace and how to achieve it. We hear in these sessions how to profoundly have the bigger perspective. This is growth. This is maturity. This is wisdom. This is all the stuff packed into a beautiful package, but you have to drop fear. You have to drop your immaturity and trusting people who are trying to sell you doom stories of, you know, all this nonsense that is consuming you. We have been told not to listen to the mainstream media because it's just low vibrational, fear based, and there is so much influences out there that sound spiritual, that sound like they're wise, sound like they're super connected in and know all of these other things behind the scenes in terms of what man's doing to create resets for financial abundance so you can all be disgustingly wealthy, because that's going to solve all of your problems, right? Don't think about anything else. Don't think about inner work, and don't think about empowerment of self. Just be happy thinking about being stinking rich. That would probably, that was probably quite exciting for many people to be focused on that. But that is incredibly third dimensional focused.
Yeah, I think that's a different crowd from this one for sure. But yeah, they're still talking about it. They're still talking about it.
But
the truthers.
I do know that there are people that are newly starting to listen to this, so they are still coming in with their belief systems from other people. And, you know, I know it takes a lot of time to listen to these sessions, but I have put in a lot of time to create these sessions to be able to give you all different perspectives that has been sold by those bigger influencers. You can make your choices whether you can actually hold the frequency of higher dimensional beings conversations and train yourself to be more expansion of your consciousness or not. You know, like it's totally up to these people to do their inner work and to listen and to, you know, I know when you're in fear and you're hearing some of this information, it's too much, and your, in quotation marks, intuition is, oh no, this is all nonsense, because you're afraid to step up. You're afraid of the content of this information and the the concepts and the actual content itself. And so, you know, many people have said to me they just started listening to them, it was way too much. They had to go away, have some growth, and then be able to listen back to it with new ears. And, you know, those people who started listening to these sessions who felt a little bit unsure and easy, but still kept with it, now they can go back to the original sessions and go, my gosh, this was not fear-based information that I originally thought it was. This is actually really advanced information. There's a difference, but it just shows where the vibration of the person was when they started listening. So I'm not judging, but I'm just please asking people for your own sake, really question your building blocks to your beliefs of spirituality. And whoever you've trusted to say that Ashtar's the devil, really ask yourself, where is that influencer's collective loyalty? What is their agenda? What is their life purpose? What is their mission? And, you know, now that you are growing and you should be dropping more of your fear, you should be able to get a gut intuition of where the truth lays. Anyway, so moving on from that, then there is this other request to be able to discuss compassion. And they are really struggling because, you know, they've got lots of friends who are on the truther and the spiritual world, and they are both very aggressive with their belief systems. And not only are they aggressive with their belief systems, but they are judging and really having high opinions and different opinions about those who make different choices. And this is where it gets really sticky with the vaccination. So we all have choices. We all have been able to do our own research to be able to understand what is going on here. And, some of us are being coerced by employment law to get it done, and others just feel like they want to travel or whatever. I'm not judging. I don't have the right to judge anyone else's decisions, but it seems like there is this big movement in with these influencers to criticize and judge others for not doing what they believe. And you know what? Your bodies are your bodies, and no one really has the entitlement to be able to tell you what to do with your bodies. I mean, I know personally where my comfort zone is, and I don't have to share it publicly what I want to do. I've been very vocal about my concerns about the health systems and their agenda there. But it doesn't mean that I don't love and support people who have trusted the medical system and have done certain things to their bodies for various reasons. So, but we need to love everyone and have true compassion for everyone's choices. And if you are listening to an influencer who is telling you to, disregard your friends and family if they're so fucking stupid that they've done something to their bodies or not doing something to their bodies, really hear what these influencers are telling you and what they're trying to impress on you. Are they trying to use peer pressure to make you follow their belief systems? I mean, it gets really uncomfortable.
That's a great point. That is a really great point, because these truthers are in panic mode themselves and not in doing their inner work. They're just in that deep panic, and they're down the rabbit hole, deep down the rabbit hole. Still, they're still digging. They haven't found their bottom to the rabbit hole, and they are very judgy.
Yeah.
It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. Anyone has a right to do whatever they want, and it's not right. They should not be judging anyone. They shouldn't be name calling anyone. It's immaturity, and it's just I find it appalling, honestly.
And so then you see these influencers impressing onto their followers, and then their followers being such loyal soldiers to that truth or that perspective that then they go and troll all their friends. And you know what? Like, life is pretty challenging as it is. And when you are putting on your spirituality cloak, and when you're putting on your truther hat, and you're wanting to share that, and you're still belittling people who are not following your favorite influencers, hashtags and statements, you're really showing where your own insecurities are. Because you haven't been able to have your own voice. You are just following the leader. And my advice to people is love everyone. This is what we hear in sessions all the time, and I'm applying it, and everyone else has the opportunity and choices to apply it, is to love everyone. And we can't reach everyone to say, can we stop seeing each other as individuals of separate wars? Can we just embrace all? Because we need to embrace all. And this part of exclusion and inclusion and this separation of, it just becomes really, I feel like I want to say it's like dangerous, because, we are all one. And we all have to support each other. Yes, there's absolutely things I do not appreciate for humanity. Absolutely. But I have to accept what is happening and trust that our teams are supporting us and protecting us. I have to trust and have faith, and I want to have trust and I want to have faith that we are all going to be guided to do what we need to be doing to be able to evolve ourselves and advance ourselves and keep ourselves high vibrational. And if you see people trolling online, how low vibrational is that? It just, we forget the basics when we are so passionate about telling people what to do.
So true. So true. And everyone thinks that they're coming from a place of love. Everyone thinks that they're helping by being very forceful with their opinion, but it's not. And again, I speak from experience. It's not. Um, it's so important, how to have compassion for all is to empower them with whatever decision they make that about anything, make them feel good about it. Don't belittle them. Don't post stupid memes about sheeple or any of the stuff. Come on, nothing like that. Nothing that's belittling. Empower someone. What does that look like in real life as it goes to the shot in the arm? I empower people to come to me when they are so upset because a doctor had been yelling at them about not being vaccinated, but that was their choice and they're sticking to it and they were feeling weak. So I'm boosting them up and reminding them how strong they are. On the flip side, family members have gotten booster things in the arm. I tell them that's wonderful. That's great. I'm so glad for them. Like, I'm so glad. That's what, I don't say anything negative. No, there's enough negativity going on. The best way we can show compassion is to just love and empower everyone with whatever choice that they make.
I mean, it is such a fantastic experience to be fully triggered with this. Whichever way you're on, you really want everyone to follow you because you feel like, you're pretty confident with your research and understanding of information. And, all of these triggers are to remind us. I think, you were triggered with your family getting the inoculations because why? You freaking love the crap out of them so much. You want to protect them and you were afraid of their choices harming them. So you can't stop their choices, but you can acknowledge to them how much they mean to you, how much you love them, and all that sort of stuff. Trigger and share your emotional journey with this trigger with them, because this is significant. You're being triggered to be able to have this communication and connection with them, not troll them, belittle them, and make them feel like you judge them and hate them for their own choices.
You know what else? And I'm not sure shared this with you before. I actually was the one to book the appointment for my husband because he was able to sneak in the line back when there was like lines. They have to sign up for online, and I had a lot of guilt about that. I was like, did I just make it fatal I really beat myself up and had a really hard time about it. Lo and behold, he's been upgraded. Like he's fine. He's good. He's protected. He's loved. He's got a team working their butt off. He's super supported. So it turned out to be a great thing for him. And great. That's literally what I want for everyone.
I love that you bring this up. We get into this kind of mindset that, we're the only ones listening to these sessions, or we're the only ones that are connected into spirituality. So we have got to guide everyone that we know because we know best. And, this is what I get reminded of every single time people freak out about their children. Oh, what about the children? Are they going to shift with me? Oh my gosh, how am I going to support them? Blah, 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 blah. And I say, what do you think their own guides are doing? Do you think that they're like, oh, don't worry about it, a human has got this?
I know. I am so guilty of that. Yep. 100 times over.
They look little and vulnerable in their little meat suits that are little cutesies, and they can't tie their shoelaces, but best trust that they are advanced beings who are here right now supporting this planet, and they have a huge collective behind them and lots of wisdom and growth and all that sort of profound stuff that we really somehow forget. Oh no, we're the only ones with a team. We're the only ones that are connected to collectives. It's like everyone has their own teams. Everyone has their own guides. And who are we to distract ourselves with worrying about them and their life purposes and contracts? It's kind of like, it's like helicoptering the world. And
I know this is like a trip down memory lane for me right now.
Sorry for the triggers. Look how
no, it's good. Yes, now I can laugh like, idiot.
But this is what I said.
Talking to myself, me talking to me. I can call myself an idiot. I give myself permission.
Well, you're not an idiot. You've grown. You've experienced all of the fine excitements of 3D. And this is when I find it's very interesting when I see influencers and hear about influencers panicking about the children. Hashtag save the children. It's like, okay, well, let's look at that. So we'll ask the collectives, what are their life contracts being those children? What is their life missions? You know, it's they're not victims to their own lives. No one is. Yes, we've signed up for these life contracts. Yes, we're all heroes when we write the contracts. We come down and have those experiences. Yes, there is emotions connected to those experiences, all for growth, all for the experiences we asked for. So therefore, it is, guided. All of those save the children. I mean, it's horrific, the crimes against humanity. Do not get me confused with someone who is not sympathetic to those experiences, because I am deeply, but I respect their life contracts. I have offered them many, many, many opportunities for healing, and every time the collectives have said, they're fine. Who do you think, do you think you're the only person caring or concerned about these little children? 3D little Joe, cute, funny. We're here, we're the collectives, we're supporting them. They have their own guides, they have their own teams. Back off, you helicopter, silly little girl.
Yeah, it's so true. And really, that was a really big step in the, I don't know, this step above the truther situation, on where you can look at it from a different angle and be like, wait a minute.
Yeah. So
these things were horrible, but that happened. But it was life contracts. It serves a big purpose, and those were actually mega advanced beings.
Yeah. Pain of karma.
Yeah.
Coming here to be of service. There's so much bigger perspective information that we've shared in sessions about actually being able to understand what on earth and why and how on earth did they get to have to experience that, which was to awaken humanity. Respect their sacrifices for us to be able to awaken. And many, when they heard about the crimes against humanity with the children, woke up very quickly. And it just reminded me of a friend I have on Facebook who, say she's very advanced and, prides herself on, knowing spirituality, and yet consistently posts horrific, fear-based, scary, scary, scary stuff that gives me chills, because there is no higher perspective. It is just gory, horrific, detailed, scary, no hope, all doom stuff. And I just think, where is the next step here? We all should know about these crimes by now. We should all be aware of the actual goings on in this world. Nothing should really surprise us at this point. And yet all she is doing is dumping on her newly awoken friends this stuff. It's so heavy when you don't have the metaphysical perspective of the life contracts, purposes, significances, and all that jazz that we've heard about.
Ugh. Yep. And the exciting thing that we are seeing in the truther community right now is we're seeing that next step happening. It's happening. I'm watching, trust me. They're doing it. They're getting the higher perspective. They're moving on from that. So they're growing. I mean, it didn't go probably the way that it was envisioned, but there is growth with them as well. So it's positive that that's happening for sure.
Yes, I mean, we are definitely seeing the change, and it is fantastic. But as we know, the influencers have already laid the seeds of fear and dispowerment and all this stuff, which is people still bricks of their foundational building of their belief systems of spirituality and truth communities and all this sort of stuff. So we almost want to push down. I guess this is why people have been triggered to push out those building blocks of disinformation, because they just do not serve us. And especially when people are holding on to old narratives. The older spiritual communities, I say this with much love, were just so much disinformation and so much limited concepts that they still hold on to that. And it's just it's not current information that we're hearing. It's just, it's so out of date, it's almost harmful, to those people who are not expanding their understanding of what is going on. And then the next thing I want to quickly say, because we do have a really short time limit today, is I think we could all, because we've all worked really hard and been able to empower ourselves to be in neutral and higher vibrational and see things from the bigger perspective, I would love everyone, when you're having some downtime or in a meditative state, to send love and healing, and acknowledgement and gratitude to every physical thing in your life. I'm not talking about nature or the planet at this time. I'm talking about your clothes that you're wearing. I'm talking about the pens you've used, the paper you've used, the seats you have sat on, the houses you've lived in, the buildings you've walked into. I really want everyone to be able to love, and appreciate every physical thing that they have been in connection with, and honor that. Because what we're realizing is the clothes and the material, for example, even though those people who are in like slave labor sweatshops, that is their life contracts, they needed that for certain reasons and purposes. But as we said just before, as I said just before, the I feel like I'm sort of half channeling, sorry, is that while they're living their lives in the sweatshop environment, which they chose, their emotions of that challenge, of that the feelings of living that life, and the challenges of living those lives, even though they chose them for themselves, is imprinted onto the fabric, imprinted onto the clothes, imprinted onto the chairs, imprinted onto the paper. It's all imprinted on around you. And so we can love their time, we can love their efforts, and we can love their life contracts, and sending love to all of the people and all of the beings, the trees who have provided the paper, for example. I really would love people just to be able to focus on appreciating everything that we have had, and sending love to all of those people who have made these things for us to be able to enjoy and use. And I really think this is quite an important thing right now, because throughout time, these invisible people who did work in these sweatshops, who did work in these labor camps, or whatever, even if, even it's a top designer, if this person is sewing you a beautiful garment, but that their life is in array, and they're full of fear and challenged and all this sort of stuff, it's still going to be imprinted into your very expensive garment. So don't think it's just, stuff made from China. We have to love all of the materials that have been delivered to us, that we have had the beautiful opportunity, the very lucky opportunity to be able to have in our possession, as well as all the fruit pickers, as well as all the fruit growers, everything. We don't see how much people have actually put in with labor. Some of them have tried to love their jobs, and that is fantastic, and some don't love their jobs. They feel disempowered by their jobs, they feel frustrated and limited by their jobs. And that accidentally has been imprinted and merged into all of your products. And so don't go into fear with this. This has already happened. But the best key for anything, love. Love, 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 love. Love it. Love that someone has chosen a really hard lifetime to be sewing you sweatpants. And while they're not in their joy with it, because they're having to experience hardship in this lifetime for various certain reasons, because we can respect their life contracts, and we know that this is not them being naughty, and we can't understand why people have asked for certain life contracts and why they're living them out, but we can trust it's for their greatest good. And so while they may have really struggled with their lives and their careers, we can honor them and thank them. And can you see now how that would ripple out and just be able to share love to all? We deserve to love all. And we are so oblivious to seeing how, we take for granted so much. We think if it's in a store, it somehow magically appeared. It didn't magically appear. Someone's effort, someone's life purpose and worth is creating these things. So if we could just stop being in fear, be in gratitude, and send love to everything that we have ever used or even misused, I think this would be a really powerful movement forward.
Such a good idea. Such a good idea.
I mean, there's, thousands and thousands of people that have helped us have, comforts, and we have never considered them for 1 minute.
Yep. And energetically, it translates, which is something that I never, well, you just said imprinted. That's a much better word. That never occurred to me until you said that. And I was like, yeah. And you're right. We haven't actually sat and had gratitude for all
And then
and everyone.
we've maybe all had maybe all have had some job where we didn't feel like we were, respected by our co-workers or our bosses and things like that. And we sort of felt like, oh, I'm only here to get the check kind of thing, to, live the lifestyle that I'm hoping for. And, if we can all do this, ultimately we will all be given gratitude and love for those jobs that we did that maybe not have given us that much joy, but it was just, a means to an end, kind of. Is that the right term?
Yeah, definitely. That's a great idea. A good homework assignment for us.
Yeah, because I could have asked the collectives, please do our stuff for us. Please love all of those people who have had jobs that haven't given them joy but gratitude for them. And I just sort of realized, no, actually, we can't keep running to the collectives for them to give love. We are very capable and very responsible for being able to give love ourselves. And, this is what Source is waiting for, right? Source is waiting for us to give love. Give love to all. And for those people who think Ashtar's the devil, what did Source say? Give love to all. So if you're still convinced he's the devil and, selling our souls or whatever the devil does these days, I don't know. I'm not in with the cool crowd. I don't know. But, still drop your judgment and love. It's the key. If you're listening to these sessions and able to apply the sessions, you would be able to be fearless and love with purity, love with your open hearts, knowing you're protected, knowing your team is not going to let the devil get you, because there is no such thing as the devil apart from your own fear.
Love it. Love it.
I hope I don't come across as ranty, and I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. If I come across as ranty, then maybe you can get triggered and there can be growth, and therefore you're welcome.
Someone put that on a t-shirt.
Well, I don't like being triggered myself, because when I'm like, oh gosh, I'm being triggered, and then you have to get over those emotions to think, what is the lesson here? What am I supposed to look at? What am I supposed to see? Like the initial triggering is not fantastic. Those emotions just jump out and, play havoc on the mind. And, but then when we remember and remind ourselves, oh, this is a test, be excited about the growth afterwards, that can, help you be able to process it without getting stuck in that trigger.
Yes. And then it's the second time it happens. when you're like, nope, not going to do it. And then you feel proud of yourself. Or it might take a few more times after that. And that's cool too. It's a process, but it's exciting. The growth is there and it's profound, and our support is profound, and just exciting times ahead. I can feel it.
That is, doing the inner work and having, I mean, they joke all the time about gold stars, but we can feel proud of ourselves when we notice that triggering time frame from holding on to those emotions and losing our minds gets shorter and shorter and shorter. And that's where you get the peace. That's where you get that inner peace. And I will do another session about how to maintain peace. I think because I've asked, the collectives told us in a session that I need to do one on peace, how to find peace and hold on to it. Because you know what, guys, what we've been told in sessions is we need to drop our inner work quickly. We need to drop fear quickly. We need to empower ourselves quickly. We need to love all quickly, because the peace is not going to be, we're not going to see much peace when people are being triggered deeply into those big lessons. We can control and have peace within us, but we know that, for many, they are about to be exposed to the biggest triggers of their lives, and that's going to be a real big struggle for them. And so we need to master how to find peace within ourselves and how to view life as a peaceful experience, to be able to then assist others through it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay, I've got to do a preschool run. I love everyone, and I am so grateful for everything that I have ever been able to use. And I'm going to do my homework. I wish everyone else could do their homework. And yes, much, much, much love.
Yes. Bye, Joe. Talk to you later. Bye, friends.